Alrighty, Fredericton, this is another episode of the Integrity Minute. I'm your host, Louis Vandervalk, and the show is sponsored by Integrity, Junk Removal, and Demolition. And today I'm joined by Jordie Taylor. Jordie, welcome aboard and tell us, a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hey, Louis, thanks for having me on. First and foremost, really happy to be joining you here and just sharing a little bit about what I do. So as Louis said, I'm Jordie Taylor. I'm born and brought up here in New Brunswick, and I've been living in Fredericton since about 2012 now. So going on a full decade in the city.
I love it.
Career-wise, I'm in the financial service industry, and I work primarily with business owners. What I strive for is really the complication. I'm from an engineering background, so I'm a numbers file and love problem solving. And what I do for them is really help them optimize their financial situation, as I like to call it, really introducing tax efficiency and a goal-focused investment approach to help them get what they need to do.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So in working with businesses, what's your favorite part of that process, as you kind of get to know people and whatnot?
So not just working with businesses, I guess, but working with business owners in general is a thrill. What it really comes back to, and I'm sure you can agree with this, Louis, because I know you work with a lot of varying business owners, is the mindset. Mm-hmm. People who own their businesses are in it to win it. And really they have that strive and that grind to push the dial every day to try and improve, and they really take pride in what they're doing. They're not just in it for a paycheck. They're in it to constantly hit that next level. And really, that's what I like about working with business owners, is working with people who want to get to that next level. They're not just wandering through life. It's how do we get there? What do we need to do? And then I guess at the end of the day, dealing with the complexities is quite fun as well.
I love that. That's very cool. And you kind of said it before, but your goal is to take some of the complexity of the money game out of it so that they can focus on what they're good at and, make their money work for them.
Exactly. Really just understanding their need and their wants, mm-hmm. Taking that, boiling it down into something simple that they can understand. So every day they can do what they love to do while all their money is doing what it should be doing.
That's awesome. Very cool. So being, in the area for a little while now, what do you think is one of the best kept secrets in the Fredericton area?
It's a good question, Louis, because there's lots of new businesses, especially around food, that's popping up left, right, and center. But since I came here back in 2012, there's been one place that I really go to. I guess we'll call it my niche spot. I'm a lover of coffee, and I often meet with people for coffee meetings. And my favorite place to go is Coffee and Friends. It's a small little gem right downtown. It's quiet. They're often roasting their own coffee beans and everything, so it smells amazing. They have really good panini sandwiches that I just dig into, and my all-time favorite thing that they got is actually their cookie dough latte. And it's made with cookie dough ice cream. So it is just, it's amazing. It's the thing I get there every single time since I first went. I think it was probably 2013, my first time going.
That's amazing. I'll have to check it out for sure.
You won't be disappointed. And the two that run the business, they are just super lovely as well.
I'll tell them Jordie sent me. I'll tell them that you sent me. They I would imagine they know you by name now.
Not by name, but they might know me just by, I get the same thing every time.
That's awesome. So what advice would you share with other business owners in Fredericton, when it comes to networking and referrals? We're obviously, this is a platform that we're using, but what advice would you share that has worked well for you?
Really, that's such a broad question, but it's a great one as well. And really networking, I think, is huge, especially here in Atlantic Canada, where it's often the relationship that goes a long way. So I guess I'll just start on the front of networking. When it comes to networking, my main thing I'd like to say is just be genuine. Don't don't try and be someone you're not. It's going to show when you're faking it. And it's going to take away the joy of actually networking and the process of meeting new people if you're putting on this mask and hiding your true self rather than being who you are, because that's what's going to resonate with people.
Sure. That's awesome.
I do have one for the referral front too, because when it comes to referrals, I might be a little bit different than most people. In my industry, people are often talking about, well, have you asked that client for a referral? You've done really good work for them. You did this, and that. But I come from a little bit different mindset, I guess, and don't really believe in asking for referrals. Instead, I guess what I believe in is rather than asking for the referral, to instead become referable. And what I mean by becoming referable is to be recognized for what you do and by your client for the work you've done for them. So if you're really giving it your all and your absolute best to do what you say you'll do, people are going to see that. People are going to really appreciate that. And as we know, people like to talk. And as they begin to talk, it causes that trickle effect about the quality of work you do. And you're never bringing up that awkward conversation of, hey, do you have someone else I can do business with?
Right.
Obviously, asking for referrals is great if you've done great work. But what I found is by simply doing what I say I'll do and doing my best for them, it's tended to cause referrals to come naturally.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Very good. So, obviously you're on here and we like to have top quality people here on this show. Do you have other recommendations of people we should reach out to, like yourself, that we can have here as guests?
I definitely do have some people in mind, and I'm gonna try and steer my head away from my own industry because no sense in hearing from the same type of people day in, day out. But I've been able to watch someone in the city over the past couple of years who have, in my opinion, done amazing. It's someone I know quite well, actually. Their name is Sarah Mackey, and they've actually grown through one of the toughest times at what I would say is an exponential rate.
Cool.
And people who are able to do something like that, to me, is just extremely impressive. She's really taking her passion, I guess, for helping others. And she started her own business called Conscious Counseling and Wellness. And she started that basically at the start of the pandemic. While other businesses were struggling to stay alive, she was building, which is incredible to me. Like, just to take on an endeavor like that.
Yep.
And the best part of it all is she didn't just look to start it and build it. She is really thriving, and she's grown a team around her at this point because she was doing such good work for the people she was working with that she just grew. And now there's a team around her as she continues to grow. And just for someone to go from basically startup during a pandemic to full team built around you in the span of 1.5 to 2 years, I don't believe many people could do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely connect me over Messenger with her, and we'll have her on the show.
I absolutely will.
Awesome. And then to wrap up, tell us, about a memorable sale or your first sale in business.
I'm sorry to laugh. It's just when it comes to sales, I'm in the financial service industry, and some people might equate it to a sales business and you're selling, or some people even have said that I'm just a mutual fund salesperson, but it's the last thing I think I am. To me, I'm a service provider. I provide advice and help people achieve their goals. So instead of telling you about my first sale, I'll tell you about the first person I sat down with for a meeting. And the reason I want to tell you about this particular person is because they're actually not a client yet.
Okay.
And I sat down with this business owner. It would have been my very first meeting back in 2019 in September, so almost 2 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And they had quite a complicated situation. A lot of their wealth is tied up in the United States. They're transitioning into retirement. They have estate planning needs and a lot of tax efficiency in their situation where wealth is in the States and it's transferring up to Canada.
Mhm.
So through the course of working with them so far, because we're still working together 2 years later, still not an official client or anything, but we've engaged accountants, lawyers, cross-border specialists, all in an effort to figure out the best way to move forward in their situation, because due to the amount of money, any misstep or any choice has large implications. And so we've really been ironing the whole thing out for them, adding a ton of value all before they ever become a client. And they may not become a client because it may be in their best interest to leave that money in the States. We're still ironing it out for them. And to me, that goes back to my very first thing I was talking about with referability. It doesn't matter someone's situation or if they're going to become a client today. If you do that work for them and you do quality work, they recognize that, they will become your client someday. It might not happen overnight, but it's that constant effort and that constant add of value that's really going to pay off over time. And really, at the end of the day, in sales, in any business, it's a grind, and you might not have instant success. So just keep doing your best work and it will come.
I love that. I love that, Jordie. Well, I appreciate your time here today. And guys, reach out to Jordie if you've got questions, and I'll have the links to everything that he's got going on down below. But it's been a pleasure having you, Jordie. And once again, this has been the Integrity Minute with your host, Louis Vandervalk.